It's the last trading day for the month of June, the official end of the first half of the year 2016. And the financial markets are in full swing. Good morning. I'm Harriet Agbinyi. This is Business Morning on Channels Television. So much to chew over the next 55 minutes or so. We'll focus on the state of the economy at half year. And there's no change in domestic agri-commodity prices just yet. That's what the latest commodities market report from Financial Derivatives Company says. Okpeyemi Oguntade, Senior Investment Officer with Financial Derivatives Company, joins me later on the show to talk more about this. But let's start the show with some stories hugging the news lines. The first is the Nigerian Labour Congress has withdrawn the strike notice it served on 6 commercial banks over the mass sacking of workers and redundancy in the banking sector. Now, the president of the NLC, Ayuba Waba, told journalists in Abuja that it was agreed that all issues should be put on hold to await the outcome of a meeting proposed by the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Mr. Waba explained that the leadership of the NLC had been briefed by its affiliate unions, the National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions employees, on the extent of its engagement with affected banks on the contentious issues. Now, the first Naira settled OTC FX futures trade was successfully executed yesterday between the Central Bank of Nigeria and Citibank of Nigeria on the FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange platform. We talked about this yesterday on the show. Now, to put a little more flesh to that particular story, the trades totaling about $20 million US dollars were carried out in 4 deals of $5 million each on behalf of foreign portfolio investors. Now, this transaction comes a few days after the central bank launched the Naira settled over-the-counter FX futures market on FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange. A lot of investors are quite excited at the prospect that now we have 2 markets, one the spot market, that's the interbank foreign exchange market for daily trade of the Naira, where you can go to the FMDQ OTC's website to get daily figures of where the Naira is at, and of course also for the futures market as well. So you get to know what investors are bidding and actually hedging for in future in terms of 1, 2, 3, and some even a full year in terms of what they expect the Naira to be priced at when eventually they need it. Well, the Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria wants the central bank to provide clarity on the role of its members in the new FX regime. The traders who are worried about their exclusion from the FX VIP list made their concerns known at a meeting the central bank on Wednesday here in Lagos, a commercial city. At the gathering, the central bank expressed readiness to continue to engage with them to work out the position of the BDCs in the policy and asked the BDCs to be more patient while the new policy is being tested. At the end of the meeting, both parties agreed to work together to stabilize the forex market and exchange rates going forward. Now, talking about exchange rates, let's take a look at where the spot market finished at yesterday. That's the interbank foreign exchange market, where we have spot trading on the US dollar. It's at 281 Naira 23 kobo. The parallel market is 352 Naira to the dollar. For the British pound, we have the Naira at 381.86 to 1 British pound, and the parallel market is at 460 Naira. For the Naira to the Euro, it's 313.84, and the parallel market 385 Naira. Some market news now. The federal government plans to raise between 305 and 395 billion Naira in local currency denominated bonds in the third quarter of the year. According to the Debt Management Office, the bills will have maturities ranging from between 5 to 20 years. The DMO says it would auction between 105 and 135 billion Naira worth of bonds maturing in 2021, 2026 and 2036 next month. 95 and 125 billion naira worth of the same debt papers in August, and 105 and 135 worth of the same paper in September. In its latest debt issuance calendar, the debt office stated that the 2021 paper was a new issue, while the 2026 and 2036 maturing papers are reopenings of previously issued debts. So that takes us, of course, into our markets review. Let's see where the markets finished off yesterday. Let's start with the FGN bonds. Yesterday, we saw investors particularly favoring the March 2036, June 2019, January 2026, and July 2034 bonds, as sentiments were quite upbeat in the bonds market. So the most actively traded yesterday was March 2036. We saw that having a bullish, 14.73%, with a price high of 85 naira 11 kobo. A total value of 5.06 billion naira was realized at the end of the day for the March 2036 bond. For the June 2019 bond, it had a price high of 104 naira 21 kobo and a value of 1.70 billion naira. The January 2026 bond had a price high of 89 naira 34 kobo, and the July 2034 had a price high of 83 naira 93 kobo. At the end of the day, about 64 deals were done for FGN bonds listed on the FMDQ OTC market and valued at 9.86 billion naira. The bullish sentiments persisted in the Treasury bills market as we saw yields expanding across board for all of those bills that we tracked. There are 28 Treasury bills traded on the FMDQ OTC's Securities Exchange, and these are the top four. I'm hoping to have the top four showing for you. And the most actively traded yesterday was the bill, the Nigerian Treasury bill, that will be maturing on the 21st of July. That's in another 29 days' time. And so we saw the highest discount of 7.09% recorded yesterday, midweek trade, for the bill maturing in 36 days' time. That's the 28th July 2016 Nigerian Treasury bill. We saw a highest discount of 6.92% with a value of 34.50 billion naira realized. For the 85 date to maturity bill, that's the bill which will be maturing on the 8th of September this year, we saw a highest discount of 10.28%, and for the bill maturing in another 295 days' time, that's the 20th April 2017 Treasury bill, we saw a highest discount of 10.58% and a value of 13.75 billion naira at the end of trade. So 173.69 billion naira was realized in 695 deals for the 28 benchmark Nigeria Treasury bills traded yesterday. And we saw ample liquidity in the interbank markets as we saw money market rates dropping further, about by 129 basis points, because liquidity swung back to positive position. We saw about 159.47 billion naira in the market. Overnight rate contracted about 416 basis points to close at 14.47%. The 1, 3, and 6-month NIBOR rates also recorded contraction across board. For the NASDAQ OTC market, it returned to winning ways yesterday. We saw the unlisted securities index notching up 0.11%. That's about the same percentage it dropped at on Tuesday. So midweek trade saw the markets bouncing back to winning ways, up 0.11% to finish at 649.85. And market capitalization is at 431.27 billion naira. In terms of volume, 3.36 million shares were exchanged by investors valued at 74.93 million naira, and deals done were 30. The top three volume drivers for yesterday's session was Central Securities Clearing System with 1.51 million shares exchanged by investors. It's followed by Jaiz Bank with 962,771 shares, and Niger Delta Exploration and Production with 600,750 shares exchanged by investors. So yesterday, we saw the market, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, also bouncing back to winning ways after 4 straight days of negative trade recorded. But for this week, we saw 3 days of negative trade, or 2 days of negative trade. Then yesterday, the market bounced back to winning ways, up 0.80%. The All-Share Index is now at 29,812.91. Market capitalization grew by 81.63 billion naira to finish at 10.23%. 305.81 million shares were exchanged by investors in 4,640 deals valued at 2.85 billion naira. Transcorp was the top volume driver for yesterday, with 52.97 million shares exchanged by investors valued at 94.56 billion naira. Top gainer was Wema Bank, and the top loser was Fitson Healthcare, with closing at 2 naira 27 kobo, down 6.97%. Rotimi Fakaejo, stock trader and Chief Executive Officer, Enterprise Stockbroker, is live to us from Custom Street as we take a look at trading from yesterday at the Nigerian equities market. Good morning to you, Rotimi.
Good morning, Harry.
It's great to have you on the program. Now, you expected a turnaround at the NSE when we had conversation yesterday, same time, and that's what actually happened. But is the market riding on quarter-end positioning and maybe portfolio rebalancing by investors?
Yesterday is come and gone, and is giving the desired effect for operators and investors, and today it started again. For yesterday, we saw the turnaround being spearheaded by the banking sector stocks, coupled with some other sectoral indices that also moved up the market. And I think this is coming on the heels of after 2 or 3 days day-on-day loss position. And I think with what we're seeing right now, it's becoming apparent that at least there is some measure of resilience within the market, with which any shock that comes at any point in time will definitely be absorbed.
So why do you think there was evidence-thin trades concentrated on some select counters, especially some market heavyweights?
Well, I think looking at the earnings result that will be coming after this quarter, it's going to be either here or there. And one thing that I'm very certain of is, if we get the very good results coming first, then definitely we will be able to, the market will be sustained. But if otherwise we will see some very negative results, blazing the trail, being the very first one to turn in their results, then it may not really be too good for the market. But from what we've seen in the first quarter, I think we can be able to postulate a little about what is to come. For the financial services sector, that is banking stocks, we've seen it on the downside for some, and some trying to keep afloat with respect to their financials. But for the consumer goods, I think we saw an improvement for the likes of Nigerian Breweries and Nestle Nigeria PLC. So if these ones actually be the one that will come first, and we see some measure of improvement, then definitely the market will be sustained. But all in all, I think see a third quarter being better than the second quarter that's ending now.
Well, Rotimi, it's the last day of trade for this month, and indeed for the second quarter of the year, and effectively for the first half of the year as well. What are your expectations for today's trade?
Today, I think we're going to see more activities than yesterday in terms of number of deals that will be done, in terms of the volume and value that will be traded. And more so, we expect some upward movement in some securities. I believe some securities may want to round off some of their prices. Maybe the likes of UPA coming close to 5 naira. The Dangote Cement trying to put a price to close at over 200. And I think if this should happen, then definitely the index will be able to upkeep, will be able to stay above the 30,000 basis points by the end of closing today. But I expect a bullish trading today.
So apart from the usual suspects, any other stock that you expect to show some good promise at the end of trade today?
Well, like, we don't expect any pleasant surprises or pleasant surprises from any stock. But I think the banking sector stock will definitely hold the 80s today at the time the trading concludes. So they are the ones that will actually determine which trend the market is going to. So if you are going to get any surprise at all, it's definitely going to be from the banking sector stocks.
Rotimi, thank you so much for your time this morning. Business Morning returns in just a moment. We're talking about commodities in just a bit. Join us again.